What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'll be talking about one of the most beautiful locality types of scrub python, that being the orange Highland scrub python. One that's often overlooked by people when it comes to some of the most popular types of scrub pythons. A lot of people love the Barnecks and the Moluccans. While those are very beautiful, the orange Highlands, I think, rival them in every way possible. So I'm going to pull out some of my favorite animals from the collection to show you and show how diverse these snakes really are. All right, so these first few individuals are going to be holdbacks of mine from the clutch that I produced in 2023. This here is one of the males, so we'll throw the dad up on the screen so you guys can see. He's one of the stranger Highland scrub pythons I've ever seen. Just very unique pattern, kind of lots of dashes, dots, weird lines all over the place. And this definitely manifested quite a good bit in this individual right here. As you can see, that he has that kind of dorsal pinstripe for the first almost like quarter of his body before getting into any actual banding pattern or whatnot. He has lots of side striping as well, and just overall a very unique pattern. These guys are only a little over a year and a half old, so they are still going through their ontogenic color change. Every shed, they get progressively more and more coloration, more orange coming through, lightening up overall. And this is my first time raising this locality type up from babies, so I'm still kind of learning as I go exactly how this progression works with this locality type, but it has definitely been a lot of fun to see these guys grow and change. So this here is a female sibling from the clutch. She's a lot more of a typical orange Highland look. It's a lot more of the typical pattern you see, kind of some of these dots throughout the body, a little bit more depth of coloration, obviously a lot more orange at this age. So not only are they variable in terms of pattern, they're definitely variable in terms of color as well. One of the most distinguishing factors in this locality type are these orange lateral bands right next to the ventral throughout the body. The sire of this clutch had very small, very muted lateral bands. So I wasn't too sure what to expect as far as how that look would manifest on his offspring. But a couple of them, and this one in particular, do have a pretty strong representation of that look that has only gotten better as they have grown with every shed. Similar to that last male, she also does have a really cool dorsal stripe early on in her body before the heavier pattern kicks in, as well as a really cool side stripe, which is pretty unique to the Orange Highland locality. Obviously, there's a lot of influence there with the male. So, definitely part of what makes captive breeding so cool, line breeding with these snakes, is kind of taking some of these looks, meshing them together, kind of get the coolest looking example of the locality type as possible. So, but like I was saying, unlike that other male, a lot more depth and coloration, some kind of orange tones, purple tones, brown tones in there. And I definitely expect this girl to only improve in that category with age. Very orange face as well, kind of some blushing by the back of her bottom jaw. That's just very beautiful, especially for an animal that is as young as she is right now. So, I'm excited about all of my holdbacks from the clutch for different reasons. But as far as coloration goes, she's probably right up there near the top of the list. So believe it or not, this is actually a sibling to the last two that we just took a look at. If this was not a snake that was in my collection, and if you had put that last female and this one in front of me and said that they were siblings, I would probably call you a liar. But they both hatched out in front of my face, so I have no choice but to believe it. So obviously, it goes without saying what makes this individual so special is a super cool double racing stripe down his back, kind of like a tri-stripe ball python look almost. Pained me that I just off the top of my head compared a scrub python to a ball python, but as far as comparing the pattern goes, I think it's somewhat of an accurate comparison. He does have some cool lateral pattern in him as well as some pretty muted but still present orange lateral bars. The way that the lateral bars are represented on this guy are very similar to that the father had, and then fading into an entirely patternless tail. So just very, very interesting. This guy was from the jump, one of the individuals from the clutch that I was kind of most interested in, His color development has not gone nearly as quickly as some of his siblings had. So I do hope he continues to become a little bit more orange as far as his coloration goes over time. But even if he's not the most brilliant orange, that stripe is truly spectacular. So another kind of patience is a virtue example with a scrub python where I just need to give this guy some more time. I bet by the time he's 4 years old or so, this thing is going to be absolutely stunning. So this is my other female holdback from the clutch. She was kind of an ugly duckling to start off with, but I'm glad I gave her a chance because she actually turned into one of the more orange individuals from the clutch. What's really cool about her color, if you kind of take a closer look at it, is that she kind of has like a multitude of different shades of orange throughout her body instead of kind of like orange pattern overlaid on a brown base color. She has that kind of cool pinned dorsal stripe as well that some of her other siblings have, which I think is super cool. A lot of influence from the dad. She does have more pronounced orange laterals than some of her siblings do as well, which I also think is really cool. And then some of these kind of banded patterns down the body, I'm hoping that they kind of turn more silver over time. You can kind of see a little bit of a hint in it. Within the Orange Highlands, one of my favorite phenotypes is when they do have kind of like orange spots or bands throughout their body. I think it is a very unique, very beautiful look. Kind of to me, some of the higher end individuals have that phenotype. So she is definitely a very beautiful Orange Highland animal and one that I think will be a great aspect of my breeding program with this locality type going forward. Well, it is very hard to pick favorites, but if I had to choose one from this clutch, this guy has to be it. His intense orange coloration and then those silver bands throughout the body are really, to me, kind of the pinnacle look you can see within an Orange Highland animal. Just really spectacular. Also, some of that interesting pattern influence from the dad as well in a more typical Orange Highland package. So if you compare it to some of the other siblings, he doesn't have as much of an extreme pattern, but definitely some dorsal striping up by the neck, some interesting side patterns throughout the body. But to me, what makes this snake really spectacular is that vibrant coloration. And this, like all of these, they're not even 2 years old yet. So the amount of orange that they still have yet to gain could really turn these things into absolutely stunning animals that you would almost need sunglasses to look at comfortably. Even if you look at the head there, kind of, I'm not even really sure how you would describe that, almost like a two-tone look on each scale where there's some silver and some kind of orange highlights on top of it. Really just an incredible snake and one that I know will be with me for a very long time. All right, so this here is my biggest female Orange Highland scrub python. She's a small adult right now. I would say she's about 9 feet long. And she kind of has another kind of interesting color and pattern scheme. Kind of the theme here with these Orange Highland animals is that they are super variable. When she was younger in particular, she was really orange, lots of orange red coloration coming through. She's doled out a little bit with age, but she's still very beautiful, especially right after a shed cycle. What she is missing, though, for the most part, are the orange lateral bands, as you saw in some of the babies. That really is pretty much absent in her, though I would expect offspring from her to have the orange lateral bars, especially if the sire of the clutch did have prominent bars himself. That trait does seem to be floating around in a lot of the different southern scrub python types and really isn't always entirely exclusive to the Orange Highlands, but it is one of the designating factors of kind of telling them apart from other southerns. This girl is a good example of how variable this locality type is and how they're not all super brilliant orange with orange lateral bars, but still really cool nonetheless. All right, last but most certainly not least is this guy right here. This is my biggest male Orange Highland scrub python. And to me, this snake is essentially your quintessential Orange Highland. Unfortunately, right now he is about to shed, so he's not looking exactly as he should, but you can get the idea for the most part. He has those really defined orange lateral bars, some interesting silver pattern throughout his body, and kind of those diamonds down the side, interesting dorsal pattern, some cool pattern near the neck, kind of some more dots and dashes, and really just that overall brilliant orange color, which is what myself and a lot of other people are looking for within this locality type. On top of that, really calm demeanor as well, which really a lot of the Orange Highland animals that I have kept seem to have really good temperaments. Whether that is indicative of the locality type or I've just gotten really lucky with my animals. It's hard to say, but hopefully this guy can be a dad one day. I would absolutely love to raise up some babies from his lineage. All right, everybody, thank you for checking out that video. If you liked it, please subscribe here on the YouTube channel, like, comment, share, hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I put a new video up every Friday, so if you hit that notification bell, you'll make sure you never miss another one. I'm on Instagram at Scrub Shepherd, Stephen Cush on Facebook, Cush Reptile on Morph Market, and I have a podcast every Wednesday night on the Trap Talk Reptile Network called Cush's Corner. You can find that on YouTube and also Spotify and Apple Podcasts. With all that said, thank you guys for checking out the video, and I'll catch you back here next week for a new one.